Hi guys, David here with another science update. So today we're going to learn about some new research about jaguars that pretty much changes the way we think about them in terms of their social behavior and to some extent their diet. Before we look at this new research, let's just take a couple minutes to kind of talk through the broad understanding of what a jaguar is and what it acts like to sort of help us understand what's novel about this new research. So the jaguar is the largest cat species in the Americas and the third largest in the world. So the jaguar's range extends from extreme southern Arizona in the United States across Mexico and much of Central America, the Amazon rainforest, and south to Paraguay and northern Argentina. It inhabits a variety of forested and open terrains, but its preferred habitat is tropical and subtropical moist broadleaf forest, wetlands, and wooded regions. It is adept at swimming, which is one of the things that I remembered about jaguars, and is largely a solitary, opportunistic, stalk and ambush apex predator. It is an expert climber and swimmer. In seasonally flooded forests, it lives partially in trees and preys on arboreal wildlife. So let's just briefly watch this 30-second long video. This is actually what caught my attention about this science. I didn't see this new science research report in my normal feed, but I did find this video, and so let's just take a look at it. So this is footage of jaguars that are behaving oddly, and so let's try to see if we can figure out what's odd about their behavior. So first of all, you'll note that there's a couple of jaguars together in this video. And that's a little bit unusual, apparently. So, as we said before, they're solitary. And here, jaguars are, their preferred food is mammals. And so you're seeing this one carry a massive fish. And then we see more jaguars kind of hanging out together and being social, which again is unusual behavior. So let's talk about the research behind that in a little bit more detail. So that video and many others was taken in the Pantanal region of Brazil, and I'm looking at an article here that says huge numbers of fish-eating jaguars prowl Brazil's wetlands. Most jaguars are loners that hunt land-loving mammals, but not the big cats of the Pantanal. So you can see on this map of Brazil that the Pantanal is kind of in this portion of Brazil, which is closer to Paraguay, and it has this kind of very different terrain than what you typically think of when you think of jaguar habitat in Brazil. I always think about the Amazon rainforest, but this is more like flooded plains, more like grassy plains that have rivers running through it and flood seasonally. So just a very different terrain overall. And here's some, you can Google more of the pictures yourself, but it just has a very different terrain than what you're typically thinking of, or what I think of when I think about jaguars. So the article says that in a tract of central Brazilian wetlands, jaguars spend their days wading through chest-deep waters searching for fish. When not hunting, the big cats playfully grapple with each other back on land. Their life is unlike any other known jaguar population's existence in the world. So the interesting background of this story is that ecologists had basically heard rumors of large numbers of jaguars sighted near a specific ecological station in this region of Brazil, and the researchers basically decided to investigate further. And so what they did is this region, particularly the Taima, which I'm probably saying wrong, is seasonally flooded with no roads or trails, so the team had to access the reserve by boat, setting up motion-activated cameras along waterways to gather data on jaguar numbers. The area's abundance of jaguars, however, was immediately obvious. You set your foot out of the boat and there's a jaguar footprint there already. There are scratches on trees, there are jaguar scats, there's just an unbelievable presence of this apex predator wherever you go, which is something I've never experienced anywhere before. So they deployed 59 motion-operated cameras, and from 2014 to 2018, they collected more than 1,500 videos of jaguars. And this area turns out to be the highest density of jaguars ever recorded. Also, as we've said before, jaguars, their preferred food is known to be mammals, but from analyzing their scat samples, they found that 55% had fish remains in them and 46% contained aquatic reptiles, such as caiman or turtles. Just 11% contained mammal remains. The cameras and tracking collars also showed that these jaguars were spending lots of time near each other, sometimes traveling, fishing, and playing together. This is all exceptionally odd behavior for jaguars, at least based on what scientists know about the cats elsewhere in the world. In terms of social behavior, what we knew of jaguars from before this study is basically that they are solitary and they meet up to mate, and that's about it. So this is very cool. So they had a couple of theories as to why the jaguars were behaving so oddly. One is, they said, just the profusion of aquatic prey in the flooded preserve, just the massive amount of, nutrient-dense food makes it easier for the jaguars to not have to compete with each other. So It's possible there's so much food available that there's no real need to fight over it. Another idea is that aquatic prey is concentrated along the river margins that are only accessible in certain areas. And so this may encourage the jaguars, basically their territorial territories to dissolve, since they basically have to get along to access all this rich food source. And it's kind of reminiscent, they were saying, of how bears, which are often solitary, you can see, like grizzly bears in Alaska during certain periods will come together and they'll all hang out together because the fish coming through the river are just so dense that there's no need for them to fight together, and they can just cooperate essentially and hunt together. So looking at the research paper itself, which I've also linked below, so in terms of social interactions, it said that all resident GPS-collared males had overlapping 95% home ranges, except for 2 of the individuals. There was less overlap for them. But by and large, the territorial overlap was huge between the male individuals. It says the home ranges also overlapped extensively between the females. This is really interesting. They say we documented 80 independent social interactions between adult jaguars based on the camera and GPS data. The majority were between males and females and involved 29 individual jaguars. And then they documented 12 interactions of the same sex, consisting of 10 individuals, 2 females and 8 males. So it looks like the males maybe were being more social with each other than the females were being social with each other. It's possible that the data size is a little bit too small to really know that for sure. But this is really interesting. They say 2 GPS-collared males, M2 and M1, moved continuously within approximately 41 to 182 meters of each other for 2 days. 8 months later, they were captured with the same camera 5 minutes apart. That's really cute. So it looks like 2 of them, M2 and M1, were friends. And it said for 2 days, they were between 41 and 182 meters of each other. So they just kind of stuck around in the same area. And then 8 months later, they were captured with the same camera 5 minutes apart. So I wonder if they're brothers or something like that, or maybe they're just best buddies. Oh, it says none of these males were related. 2 other males, M7 and M21, were seen fishing together and walking past another camera together on 2 separate occasions. 2 males, M29 and M27, spent 30 minutes in front of a camera playing. 2 females, F2 and F4, were documented in the same location 12 minutes apart. We lack information on potential relatedness among the interacting uncollared jaguars. Well, thanks so much for watching this. This has been another science update. If you enjoyed the video, please go ahead and like and subscribe, and I hope you'll join me again in the future soon. Bye.